Northwich. Hello, David.
Hello, yeah. I'm a bit concerned about what you just said about Esther McRae.
Concerned?
Well, you seem to be making fun of the position of Minister for Anti-Woke.
And that makes you concerned?
Well,
how concerned are you? On a scale of 1 to 10?
10.
Where 10 is not concerned at all?
Well, it'd be 1 then.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to take your first response.
Well, everybody in this country is fed up with wokeness.
Everybody? What, you mean you?
Well, I speak for the majority of the silent population.
Yeah, the silent majority seems to be a very, very vocal minority. I think that's what you mean.
It's about time that we had a minister who's going to tackle this major cancer in society of wokeness.
It's a cancer. It's going to kill us. It's metastasizing. I had no idea. Right, what do you mean by wokeness?
Well, everybody knows what wokeness means.
No, well, I'm asking you, David. What do you mean by it?
Well, you can see it everywhere, can't you?
Well, I can't right now. I can't see any woke in this particular room.
Go out in the street and you can see woke people everywhere.
What, in Northwich? I seriously doubt that.
Well, what's wrong with Northwich?
It's a woke desert.
Well, no, there's woke people everywhere in Northwich, I can tell you.
Right. Okay, I'll play along and I'll ask one last time. What do you mean by woke?
Well, do you want a specific example of wokeness?
What do you think the question, what do you mean by woke, means?
Okay, I'll answer that question then. I was in Greg's the other day.
Yeah, minding your own affairs.
Yeah. And there was someone in front of me, and you could tell he were woke straight away. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, they're definitely woke.
He ordered the vegan.
He ordered the vegan sausage roll.
Falafel burger. Yeah.
No, he ordered a vegan sausage roll.
Yeah.
And I just thought, well, is that what we've come to in this country now?
Well, it's what we've come to in Greg's.
You know what I mean?
No.
A vegan sausage roll.
Yeah,
really?
Vegan sausage roll. Yeah.
I mean, is that what we've got to put with now? I had to walk out, to be honest.
Really? Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, you left there, and I can't wait for you to leave here. But the best of luck with your next effort, David. I think he's all out of material. Okay. Thanks a lot, mate. He's one of the anti-wokey-cokies.
Okie-dokie.
Hackney. Mark.
Hi. Good night or good morning, I guess.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. You've raised a lot of interesting points. Now, I've been noticing the word politics is coming up a lot. And also, you've made very rightly the point that even if we have 27,000 people coming in on boats, we still have millions of people, or 8 million people, coming in other ways. Now, I mean, without wanting to be too blunt, go on the bus nowadays, how many people there are speaking English?
How many people there are what?
Are speaking English.
I don't really strike up conversations with people on the bus.
Fair enough, but I mean, every person you hear on the phone, every person talking to their friends.
Could you finish that sentence?
Well, yeah. Okay, but basically this is my point, that, you know, you've mentioned that they're sending Home Secretary officials to Rwanda.
Well, that's the plan, yeah.
And, well, honestly, I think that has to be one of the best ways to go. You know, we have millions or thousands of people, call it what you will, coming in here, and listen, where my heart goes out to them. They're escaping from whatever horrors, but, you know, they don't belong here.
By what measure do they not belong here?
In the measure that England is struggling as enough as it is, you know, what with COVID and every other thing that's been going down, with however many prime ministers we've gone through recently. And we don't have space for these people. We are not interested in taking them.
We don't have space. There's no end of space. Just get in a car, Mark, and drive 15 minutes from Hackney, and you'll see fields for as far as the eye can see.
So you would have the government take all these fields, right, kill the climate even more, and erect housing there for all of the people who, by all rights, should not be here.
We're talking about 27,000 people. That's about 0.
Right, but what about these...
It's an addition of 0.04%.
Okay, and these million other people, what about them?
Well, those are perfectly fine as far as the government is concerned. They're not talking about dealing with them. They are concentrating on people arriving in small boats. There is no plan or policy about reducing the million a year that come here for, whatever reason.
Well, the way I see it, if we have secured or established that Rwanda is indeed a secure place where they'll have a roof and shelter and they'll be able to make something with their life and, it's safe for them and all of that, then send these million people there as well.
Well, I think that Rwanda might have a problem with that. You think that Rwanda would take 1 million people?
Well, obviously not 1 million, but, surely we don't need to take these million people. What has England done wrong that we have to accept millions of people every year?
Well, I wouldn't call it doing wrong. And neither do we really, as far as the rest of the Western world is concerned, take anything like what our fair share of the displaced is.
Are you saying that we're taking more or we're taking less?
Oh, we're taking much less. I mean, about half what they're taking in France and considerably less than half what they're taking in Germany, for instance.
Right, well, listen, why... Okay, I understand that, other countries are taking more. But at the end of the day, why don't the other countries do it as well? Just find somewhere and send them there.
Well, then that just sounds like a game of musical chairs. I mean, we'll just give everybody skates and they can just keep moving. I'm not sure that would work. But good thinking, Mark. Thanks for that. Kingsbury, Steve.
Good evening, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
So am I, thank you for asking. Let's talk about education.
Yes.
There's been a massive and monumental failure from both sides of government for many, many, many years. What they seem... I've got friends with children who are in that age group or have passed through that age group, so I can speak from a little bit of indirect experience. I don't have children of my own, so it's not direct. But it goes something like this. Not every child is academically gifted.
Yes.
We don't need every single school student to go to university. A lot of university courses could be shrunk down 2-year made diplomas. But what we do need is, if the school children have got practical skills or demonstrate a practical skill, we need carpenters, we need engineers. Computer technicians is probably more of the academically based.
Well, engineers as well, I would suggest.
We need brick builders, we need house builders, because... You connect that to the whole immigration explosion. Everywhere there's a village built, we're going to need people to build stuff.
We do need those. Yeah, we do.
Support stuff.
Yes.
We need to train people how to do that. Apprenticeships.
Hang on a minute. We do need those things. There's no doubt about it. But British people don't want to do, like young people particularly, don't want to do those things. And the evidence for that is that your average bricklayer, I think, is 55 years old.
They should be encouraged.
Well, encouraged or forced?
Carrot and stick approach. What's the correct answer, and in what proportion is that the correct answer? Yes, basically. No, you can only force people so much.
Yeah.
But if you explain to them the necessity, the Confucius theory that goes something like, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Oh, I'm familiar with that. I didn't know that it was one of Confucius's.
Unless I'm wrong, the principle of the expression applies whoever it originally came from. Encourage people by explaining what's important, and when people, like I said, if you treat practical design courses in school, give the junior school children Lego bricks and Jenga bricks and say, try and build this and understand the architecture and the design.
Yeah, and I'm sure you would find some kids who will eventually go on to become architects who show a talent for that kind of thing. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But I'm not totally on board with the forcing kids to be brickies thing. New Malden, Ahmed.
Oh, hello, Nick. Yes, a recent survey by the newspaper The Times suggested that 40% of the civil servants, especially high-paid one, they want to leave because they've been asked to come to office 3 days a week. I can't believe. Are they having a laugh?
Wait, back up. Who is it?
Well, the Sunday Times carried out a survey of civil servants.
Oh, the civil service, right.
The civil service.
Civil service.
Civil service.
Civil service.
Pardon. Yeah. I mean, are they having a laugh? Where will they get such cushy jobs? And flexi hours and triple lock pensions and everything. Go, come to office whenever you want. I mean, for God's sake, I think the minister should call their bluff. Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing is, if they were working for private sector, they'll have to work. They'll have to perform.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's no evidence that they're performing. What evidence do you have that they're not?
Exactly. So
no. What evidence do you have that they're not performing?
Well, it's obvious. I mean, you can just see Home Office and everything else.
Well, it's obvious that the Home Office are not performing to their maximum ability, but that, I would suggest, is because of the various people that have led the Home Office.
Well, I wish I could get such cushy jobs, where you're paid and you don't have to work really hard. Because in private sector, you will have to perform. You will have to deliver. And they are not delivering. Yeah,
the only people that deliver in the private section are those kids on scooters who weave in and out of traffic. They're like mosquitoes around you. They're such a nightmare. You just don't know where they are. First, they're on the right-hand side in your right-hand side mirror, and then you lose track of them, and they're suddenly on the
all of a sudden
on your left, trying to undertake you on a roundabout, or they're right behind you, so near that you can virtually see the colour of their eyeballs.
Well, I think, these civil service people, they are on a gravy train, like all the ministers.
Yeah.
They are just not delivering it.
Well, but you're just making all this stuff up, Ahmed. You're just lashing out wildly with no actual facts at your fingertips.
Well, no, but the survey by the Times newspaper, it must have been...
and it said how many civil servants want to leave?
40%.
40% want to leave.
They want to leave because they've been asked to come to office for 3 days a week.
Right. Well,
they should be working full week in office.
Yes, but if they are working at home, surely they would have the extra time that they would ordinarily be commuting in order to do extra work.
Well, are they working at home?
Well, you seem to have made your mind up, Ahmed, but again, your opinion is based on no facts, just opinion, just bias.
Well, who said, you can see all these civil service in coffee shops and wherever else? Well, yes.
They're down the disco having a laugh at our expense. Can you believe that?
I think they are having a laugh.
All right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Ahmed. Acton. Bridget.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Bridget.
Lovely talking to you. I would like to have a word about the blaming on the lockdown. That's a load of bull. Mm-hmm. It's the government are responsible for everything that's happening to the people of this country.
Well, you won't get much argument from me there. I mean, they have been in power for almost 14 years now. You think they would have had some effect?
Yeah. Could I say another thing? Mm-hmm. Why is the king keeping so quiet, sitting in their ivory castles?
The king?
And yet, the king. Why isn't he doing something? The country's in a mess.
Well, it's not really for the king to do anything. He just sits there and wears a sparkly hat. And I think that's about the end of his duties. Further than that would be a constitutional problem. I wouldn't wait for the king to do anything to protect us, because I think you'll be waiting for a considerable amount of time. Islington. Hello, Nicholas.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Nick. About the tomatoes.
Tomatoes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a strict Buddhist. And what we do, I'm in Islington, and what we do, we eat what we want to grow. All right?
You eat what you want to grow?
Yes.
Right.
Obviously, we don't eat meat. And then what we do, when we want to go soil it, we go to the garden, dig a little hole.
Oh.
Go to the toilet in the hole, put the soil back on, have a wee over the top. And you do that random spots all around the garden, eating random foods.
Yeah.
And then whatever grows, that's what you eat.
That's what you eat, right.
It's great. It's recycling. It's best.
Well, as for your invite for dinner over at your place, I'll bring my own food, if that's okay.
As long as you don't bring meat. Well, you can bring meat as long as you ain't killed it yourself,
right?
Or paid someone else to kill it, or seen it being killed. You can eat meat and be a Buddhist.
Okay, so if it's alive, that's fine.
Yeah, I've seen that on telly where they're eating live fish. You know, they cut a sliver off the fish in Japan.
Oh.
You pick the fish that you like a piece of. They take it out of the tank, and he gets a really sharp, like little samurai sword, and cuts us like a piece of smoked salmon off it, and then he puts it back in the tank.
Back in the tank.
Puts it back in the tank. You know.
Well, that's awful. Fish are people too, you know.
Fish have feelings. You know, I've kept fish. They're lovely things. Fish are lovely.
I don't know. You can't really have a relationship with a fish.
They recognise you. They know you. When you walk to the tank, they get excited. They know
it. They do not recognise you.
They do. They know when you're going to feed them. They know when you're happy, when you're sad, or when you're a bit depressed and you don't feed them on time, and they get a bit wary and a bit scared.
Yeah. No, I understand that they would see this shape coming towards them and they would recognise that as being a source of food. But I very much doubt that they can. They
recognise you. Honestly, Nick, they recognise you. They see you coming, and they all come up to the same spot, just for the little bits of pellets or flakes, whatever you're feeding them.
Uh-huh.
And then what you do, you keep them for a while, and then you take them to a nice little lake, you know, in Leafy Forest. It's called the Bomb Hole. You wouldn't know it was there unless you've been taken there previously. It's a jungle to get through to it, and then what you do, you put all the fish in the bomb hole,
and then they die. Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot, Nicholas. What did he call it? Did I mishear, or if I didn't, then bomb hole, bomb hole. Is that what that was? Right. Because you wouldn't want to make that mistake. And the fish really, really wouldn't want you to make that mistake. Linlithgow, Valerie.
Hello.
Valerie.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, Valerie.
How are you this evening?
I am super, thanks for asking.
Well, that's what you do when you're polite. Anyway, what do you think about... I think we should have a complete different party altogether.
What do I think about
Sorry, I do beg your pardon. It's been a long day. But my thoughts are, instead of having Labour, blah, 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 because they're all the same rhetoric, they all make the same promises, I think they should start a complete new party for the people that is actually keep this country running, which is the working class. And this government seems to be all about the
upper class.
Class.
The super rich. Yes, the international criminal super rich.
Not even that. Just, I mean, all the rhetoric that's coming out from, I don't want to call her bulldog, but her rhetoric is offensive.
Whose?
Suella.
Oh, she's gone. History, Valerie. You need not concern yourself with her a moment longer.
She'll be back.
Yeah.
She will be back.
She will be back.
Listen,
I think that if she believes that she is a popular person in this country, then I think that
don't all Tories think they're popular.
Somebody should introduce her to a mirror pretty soon. Valerie, it's not a question of wishing for another perfect party. You're going to have to choose from the ones that you got already. Just pick the least bad option. Promise me you'll do that. Wimbledon, Humphrey.
Good evening, Nick. I think, quite honestly, I think we really ought to keep our noses out of that particular trough. I think Prince Charles is doing an extremely good job, and it is a very, very tough job. He's in the limelight the whole time. I'm sure he's not at all dishonest. I think he ought to be allowed to get on with his business on his own and be left alone by Joe Public.
Define good job.
Oh, come on, for God's sake. How do you mean define a good job?
You said that he's doing a good job. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, he's being a very good king.
In what way?
Oh, for God's sake! He's running his place very well. He's can't you see that he's doing a good job?
No, Humphrey, and neither can you. You said that he was, but you couldn't define what you meant by that.
Oh, for God's sake! Go on. Ask me another question.
I'll ask you another question when you answer the first one.
Well, he's doing a good job.
Yeah, well, you keep saying that, but you seem unable to define what that means.
And get your bloody news out of the world family's business.
Right, okay. I'm not entirely sure whether you're a real person, Humphrey, but if you are, then I wish you all the best. I wish you all the luck in the world. I think you'll need it. Camberley, hello, Brian.
Oh, good evening, Nick. How are you?
Yes, good, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for taking me on. And listen, just tell me when you've had enough, and I'll shut up, all right?
Right.
All I want to do, Nick, just to fill you in, I'm a 62-year-old man. I've got mental health problems, got sideable life, etc., yeah?
Okay.
So many things I'd love to say, but obviously you've got pretty soon. First thing, I'm very, very, if you like, upset with LBC, because every show, every person like itself, the same subject, same, all the same questions, all the same answers, yeah?
It's called the news, Brian. What would you have us talk about?
Yeah, but how often do you have to repeat the news, Nick?
You want us to invent new news just so as to avoid boredom in Camberley?
Nick, what?
You know you asked me to tell you when I'd had enough?
Oh, no, stop it. No, give me a chance, Nick. Give me a chance. Let me just finish here, please.
And in closing?
Right. I've got a different subject. I don't know if you know the A3 M25 roadworks that are going on there at the moment.
No, I do not. No, sadly not.
They're doing a massive extension from the A3 at Risley to go onto the M25, yeah?
Okay.
The reason I'm saying this is, especially Nick Ferrari, I thought you might. It's never, ever been mentioned.
You want us to mention roadworks? That's the topic that you would prefer rather than, what is exercising the country news-wise. You want us to talk about the roadworks on the A3. Well, let me think about that, Brian.
No.
Yeah, it's a no from me. Penge. Pete.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Okay. Well, the reason for my call is a question, but can I just run a couple of other things past you first?
Well, you had to buck up about it.
Okay. So, Sir Gavin and Sir David and Sir Cruella, sorry, she's a lady. It doesn't ring right, does it?
What doesn't?
Look, Sir Gavin, Sir David.
Oh, none of that, dude. No. None of them ring right, whether they were sirs or not.
What about this one, though? Sir Nick Abbot.
Yeah, no, definitely not. That's not going to happen. Not now. Not ever. Never.
No. Anyway. They asked Titchy Soup size, is he going to stand for PM this time? He says, I was standing last time.
Right. Okay, all right. Another listener with material.
Oh, no.
Plus, it's very, very hard to hear you. Stop fiddling about with your phone, man, and speak directly into the mouthpiece. In North Carolina. Hello, Graham.
Lovely to speak to you, Nick. Now, I am a resident of Fulton County, Georgia, and I can understand Rudy Giuliani's dismay at the way things are run there, because when I tried to get an absentee voting form, it took me 3 tries with registered letters and the rest of it. And finally, I think what I had to do is I had to go from North Carolina to Georgia to vote, because I could never get satisfaction from the Board of Elections. So he'll appeal it, and seems like an awful lot of money for just calling somebody inept.
A jury's $148 million award against Rudy Giuliani for defaming 2 Georgia election workers is just the latest blow that took him from Gracie Mansion to the Oval Office and a string of courtrooms as defendant. Gracie Mansion, is that the New York mayor's house?
Residence, right, yeah. Well, there sounds like a lot of whining and whinging, as you would say, by the employees of the Fulton County. Actually, they're volunteers, or they're not really employees.
Yeah, well, didn't he say to them that they were a bunch of con artists and they stole votes and they didn't count the right votes and they were essentially guilty of trying to take over the United States of America?
I would agree with that.
You would agree that that's what he said, or that's what they were doing?
I would agree that that's what he was representing the truth.
Right.
There was what was it? It was in Maryland. There was somebody that was stuffing ballots. And I think it happened in
Graham.
Yeah,
you have to stop watching Fox News, please. Promise me you'll do that.
Well, I should watch. What should I watch? What's your best?
I don't know. Watch South Park,
NBC,
or or The Simpsons. Watch something improving. You'll get moral advice from both of those two things, which will be sadly absent if you watch Fox News anymore, Graham. Trust me. But thanks for that. Folsom County, didn't Johnny Cash do a very famous live album at Folsom County Jail, Graham?
Yeah, that's in not in Atlanta. That's Folsom County. That was somewhere.
That was somewhere.
Al Capone. Al Capone was in the federal prison in Atlanta at one time in his life.
Right. Well, they got him on tax evasion. So maybe there's a certain other individual that they'll get on a similar charge.
I make $400 million a year, so what difference does it make?
Wouldn't that be funny? Of course, he couldn't wear an orange jumpsuit because it would render him invisible. You'd never be able to see him.
Yeah, unless he was skiing.
Unless he was skiing?
Skiing, yeah. Orange and white snow is a vast dissimilarity.
Right. Do they have ski slopes in jail?
Well, maybe in Colorado. I don't know. Maybe not.
Maybe in Colorado. Yeah, that's probably right. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, mate. I'm not sure that Donnie is a skiing person, or really an exercising person.
Well, exercising is fun and it's nice.
It's fun and it's nice. Well, who knew? Southgate. Hello, Heather.
Oh, hello. I'm actually not in Southgate anymore. I'm in Gost Oak.
Oh, much nicer.
But thank you for taking my call. I was just saying to your researcher that my dad is 92 and going on 93. His house in Winchmore Hill is probably worth about $600,000, possibly. He probably paid a couple of grand for it when he moved in. He's lived there for 60 years. He's paid tax all those years, and then now we're paying £1,500 a week for his nursing care in a care home because he can't get out. You know, he's literally bedbound, and so we're paying all that money, and then as and when the time comes, well, he had a few savings that are now going down and down and down because obviously we're paying so much money on the care home.
That's £78,000 a year.
Absolutely. And then, when the time comes, we've then got to pay inheritance tax on the tax that he's paid already. And I don't think that's fair. I think it's unfair. And,
But to be clear, though, Heather, I understand the position that you're in, but and many people who are in, of that age, they bought their houses when they were giving them away free with, 10 gallons of petrol. And the value of the house has gone through the roof.
But no, in those days, they actually paid a lot of money for them at the time.
Well, yes, but it's not as much money as it is now, as far as earnings are concerned. Okay, I get all that, but you're saying that he has already paid tax on that, but he hasn't. It's the increase in the value of the asset, isn't it? that he didn't actually do anything to increase that value. He just sat there and it just went up.
Yeah, but that happens to everybody. If you've got your own house, that happens to everybody.
That's quite right.
You know, yeah, that does. But then equally, it's, you know, we're paying £1,500 a week for his care because he happens to be bedbound, and we're going to probably lose all that money anyway because of the social care. So people don't think about that, do they?
Well, Boris Johnson did once say that nobody is going to lose their house to pay for their social care should they need it. But
is that true? I don't know.
It isn't really. I mean, the more money that you have, the less it will affect you because you'll be able to afford it and keep your house.
Sorry, I don't understand. So do you not have to sell your house? Do I not have to sell my dad's house? No,
what I'm saying is that's what Boris Johnson said, but he said a lot of things, and most of them have not come to pass.
Yeah, I know, but it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult because there's so many different scenarios, and everyone's got a different position. But I'm not rich. My brother's not rich. My dad was never rich. They just happened to live in an area. And they paid a small amount of money for their house, which obviously was probably a lot at the time. But then we're going to get like 40% inheritance tax, which I think they should abolish inheritance tax, at least until, or maybe they should do it regionally. Maybe they should do like the southeast should be have a higher bracket than. Well, no, because if you're living in Yorkshire...
I hear everybody...
living in Yorkshire...
everybody above Watford has their finger in the air and wishes to register a complaint.
But if you lived in Yorkshire, you wouldn't have to pay anything.
Well, it very much depends on what kind of house you've got, Heather.
But my dad's house is it's a terraced house. 3 bedrooms, terraced house with a box room.
I understand that, and prices in the south have gone up considerably. But there's places in Yorkshire that are worth tens of millions of pounds. I don't think you can really make policy based on area, but the amount, yes, and that's what the Chancellor intends to do. So we are led to believe on this coming week. Now, I wonder if you think that just the very idea of it is reasonable, considering that only the top 4% wealthiest families are going to be affected by this. Let's have a call in Sutton. James.
Nick, I hope you're well.
Very well, thanks, James.
Good. I was all ready to have a proper argument with you. But after listening to the last caller that you had,
yes,
I'm
thinking of taking a plane to Pittsburgh, or
I am.
Philadelphia.
I'm holding the tears back. And I'm thinking that even if you and I disagree on political stuff,
yes,
that last call
made life worth living
that you had. It did. It made thank you. It made life worth living. It was you and I can.
It was indescribable. Yeah.
It was indescribable.
Yes.
It was incredible. It was literally incredible.
Right.
Now I'm a big Nigel Farage fan. I know you're not.
How big are you, approximately?
And I am. Right. Okay. Well, let me give you two analogies. I'm Team Trump and Farage forever.
Wow.
Okay?
You really are. You've got the full hand of crazy there at the table.
No. It's not crazy. No. Crazy is your opinion.
Yes.
It's not a fact.
Well.
Okay.
If I think if I think it becomes a fact, because we're all about feelings now, baby. There's no such thing, James. In your world, there is no such thing as facts. It's all about feelings.
If you simply think it is,
yes.
If you simply think something is, then it is your opinion.
It is a
fact.
Not a fact. Yeah, it is a fact. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Well, if Donald Trump thinks something and he says it out loud, then it becomes a fact in his world and his fans' world, doesn't it, James? Yes.
And it also does if you think it does in your world.
Right. But you're okay with one and not the other.
Do you agree? No. I agree with both, as long as you do.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, cool. Okay, so we're good. So we're good.
Is that it?
That last call.
I know, indescribable. Yeah, I know. You have no words. I understand that, James. Okay, it's understood. I get it. Speechless, if only. Bermondsey, Lavinia Grace.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Lavinia Grace.
Hello, my lovely.
Yes.
Lovely to hear your voice again.
Is it?
As always. Yes, it's always lovely to hear you, Nick. It really is. Anyway, my lovely, what I'd love to talk about is the weather, by the way. The weather.
The weather, by the way.
Yeah, and the reason why I want to talk about the weather, because...
It's like winter outside.
Yes, but what I want to say right now, you know what I'm actually doing?
I hesitate to ask.
I'm embracing it, Nick. I'm embracing it. And the reason why I'm embracing it...
Can I just ask you a question about this before we go on?
Yes, go on.
What are you embracing?
The cold. Oh, the lovely cold.
Thank goodness for that. Yes, carry on.
Right, and the reason why I'm embracing it, because if you remember...
The cold you're embracing,
the cold,
yes.
Yeah. If you remember the summer,
some of the first time?
Rock and roll! No, the summer we had... It wasn't really summer because it was totally toxic, right? But what I want to say this, Nick...
Totally toxic? That sounds like an album by Megadeth.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
What I'd like to say...
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Most of the time in the summer, every day, I actually thought I was dying. And I kept looking at myself and thinking, is it me? Or is it, am I dying, right? And every time I go out, everything was a struggle. I could not think straight. I couldn't sleep.
Well, as opposed to now, when you are thinking perfectly straight.
Well,
not so much.
Well, no, can I just say this, Nick?
What?
Because I have a bit of a stammer, as you know.
Oh, yes.
And if you can bear with me, what I want to say is that I feel revitalised, I can think, I can eat.
You can see clearly now.
Yeah.
The pain has gone, yeah.
Yeah, but also, I kind of... you know what it is? Because I really love this weather and I'm embracing it, and I keep sort of thinking back to the toxic summer we had.
Yeah.
It's like, I love it.
I don't know what you're talking about, this toxic summer. The summer was rubbish that we had around these parts.
When I say toxic, it was not heat. It was like... It was stifling. There was no air. Nobody could breathe. Everybody I spoke to, I said, is it me or is it you? Everybody said to me, no, it's not you, my love.
Lavinia Grace, just crack a window every now and again. You'll get some fresh air in.
Well, this is what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to say, Nick, because I have not spoken to you for some time.
I know, haven't I been lucky?
Exactly, definitely. But what I want to say, Nick, I can't understand this right now. I want you to help me here. What I want to say, because at the moment, every time I've been going out, right?
Yeah.
Like you're shopping and that sort of thing.
Out on the town, disco dancing.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know about that, Nick. But I'm actually going out with sandals on. Like tonight, I went out with sandals. Yeah.
Were you wearing
nothing on?
Anything else?
No socks.
No.
My toes were hanging out. Right now, what I can't get. No, what I want to say, Nick, is that what I can't work out. I feel hot. My toes feel hot, and I love it. I just feel alive, Nick.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Lavinia Grace. It's preferable to feeling dead. And thanks for the weather update, mate. Appreciate it. Try to put something other than sandals on before you leave the house. I mean, just a wrap of some sort. I mean, a dressing gown would be nice. So, do you have PJs over at your place? Just a coat. Put a coat on, for crying out loud. Nobody wants to see that. Ealing, Neil.
Oh, hello. Yes, I mean, I have to confess to being, in the past, mostly a Conservative voter, although I certainly wouldn't vote for this government again. And what I think should happen in these, frankly, rather exceptional circumstances is that the King should step in. I think he should dissolve Parliament and that a general election should be called.
The King?
And the King could do that. The King can dissolve Parliament.
It would be, to say the least, highly unusual.
Well, yes, but these are highly unusual circumstances.
Yes. I'm not sure that that is even a remote possibility. I mean, these are crazy times, but I don't think that the King is going to step in and dissolve the Parliament because the Tories are in disarray.
Well, why not? I mean, these are exceptional circumstances.
Not
this
really.
Government and the country is in chaos.
Well, that's putting it perhaps a bit boldly. We're not in chaos. People get up and do their, they go through their ablutions as usual and then go to work as usual. They come home as usual and they sit and watch TV and go to sleep as usual. There isn't chaos. There's not anarchy in the streets. It's just a political sideshow, essentially. I don't think the King is going to insert himself into that, and nor would he be best advised to do so. But it's an interesting idea, Neil, and I would pay a small amount of money to see it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Malta, Jeffrey.
Hi.
Yes, Jeffrey.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking.
I was just thinking. I was listening to the radio. I'm sitting here on my own in Malta. I'm from England, but I'm here at the moment. And you were going on about how it's the old people that are the ones that are most concerned about immigration.
Correct.
And I have a view on that because I'm old. I'm 71, and maybe I can explain that.
Okay.
The first point would be that old people remember what it was like in the UK before mass immigration, i.e. culturally, and the way that you could have a doctor come to your house the same day and there wasn't the pressure on the services.
Well, it depends on how far back you go. I mean, the doctor may not come to your house at all unless you pay cash. Remember those days?
Well, I remember when I was young, the doctor came, from the NHS, and you didn't have to pay anything because they were available, and there wasn't the mass immigration, and there wasn't the overburden on the services, and we could access our public services without the pressure that we have today.
Yes, but it's not immigration that caused that pressure. It's people having sex with each other.
Disgusting.
Can you imagine that?
Well, it's down to the number of people. I mean, maybe if you look at it this way, if you put 25 rats in a box for 10 rats, and then you wonder why there's a problem, that's because you got 25 rats in a box for 10 rats, and therefore there's not enough rat food.
Right, I don't think anybody's suggesting there's not enough food.
Well, but, that's a euphemism. I mean, let's exchange food for services, schools, doctors, hospitals, dentists.
And if you're in want of teachers and doctors and dentists, and we don't have enough produced in this country, then where should we get them from? Or just do without?
Well, no, what it is, I think... Basically, it's just a simple. It's nothing to do with any sort of prejudice. It's just a matter of mathematics. But it
isn't, though. It is about prejudice. It's not about mathematics. Because if we didn't have people coming over here and doing the jobs that we don't want to do, then we wouldn't have anybody young enough to take care of our increasingly ageing population, such as yourself, Jeffrey.
No, but the point is, a lot of the people coming over here, as you say, that are here to do things that we don't want to do, are actually here to do those services for the people that are coming here, not the people that are already here.
And what evidence is there of that? People are coming here to care for the people that have come here. I don't think that that's true.
Well, yeah, if you bring in maybe 750,000 people a year beyond what we had the year before, then it's going to take a number of people to look after those 750,000 people, is it not?
Well, it depends whether those people are of working age, and they're the ones that are taking care of us.
Yeah, but who determines that? Who's looking after who? And how did we manage before? Why was it that we didn't have this problem before and we have it now?
Jeffrey, for as long as people have been alive, they have been saying that this country is full. They've been saying it forever. When there was back in the days when they didn't have stripes on the side of the road that stopped you parking, you could park anywhere you blooming well liked. They were still saying that this country was full. They've always been saying that.
How old are you?
How old am I? 63.
Are you really?
63.
Yeah, you don't sound 63 to me. Yeah. I'm 71. I mean, you don't sound 8 years younger than me. You sound far younger than that. But
well, then I think you need to take a look at your diet or something, Jeffrey. Something's gone horribly wrong over there.
I lost 9 stone in 11 months, because I had to reverse my diabetes. I was 26 stone. I got down to, maybe 17. But
17.
Yeah,
right. Still some way to go there. Still a little bit of way to go there, Jeffrey.
That's still pretty groany.
Unless you're
you don't see
8 feet tall.
Well, I know, but you don't hear of many 26 stone, 71-year-old people around, and at least I'm still here. Whereas when I was 65, that's the weight I was, so I made the effort. Well,
you're lucky to have made it so long, Jeffrey, and congratulations on the length of your innings.
Yeah, but I think you made the point that old people are the ones that are more concerned about immigration. And
yes.
I think, even yourself will remember back in the day that there wasn't, such immigration as we have today. And, I think it's really a coefficient of numbers and mathematics.
No, I don't think it is, because as the population has increased, and it's not just down to immigration, because don't forget that there's a number of people that die every year, so it's not increasing by that number is the population of this country. And without them, this entire country would fall flat on its face. What I'm curious to know, Jeffrey, is what the good people of Malta think of people like you who are going to Malta as immigrants.
Yeah, but I'm not living here. I'm here visiting, and I did live for a while in the south of France.
Right. Well, then I restate my case.
No, but then what I will say to that is that the people of Malta and the people of the south of France, kind of sort of inconvenienced by us English people moving around. But at the end of the day, what they realised is that we were importing money and we were importing resources.
Bingo! Yes, you've just made the argument that I was going to, but now I don't have to. They're importing money. You are aware that immigrants do actually contribute more to the economy than your average Brit does. So if you really want to improve the nature of this country and our economic well-being, then export recalcitrant Brits to Malta, perhaps, would be a good idea. And keep those more economically active and economically hungry people to do the jobs that we can't do, and the nation would suffer if they don't get done. But anyway, Jeffrey, good to talk. Thanks for that. Heston. Hello, Isaac.
Hello.
Isaac.
Yes. Oh, Nick. Hello.
Yes, Isaac. Right. Let's say it one more time.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Liz Truss, right. I'm listening to the show. Great show. Love it to bits. Okay.
But.
And I'm sitting in front of my computer, and on my Kindle app, I have got the book called Britannia Unchained.
Oh,
right?
No.
Global Lessons for Growth and Prosperity, right?
Yeah.
And the authors are Kwasi Kwarteng, Priti Patel,
yes.
Dominic Raab.
My name's Dominic Raab, and I'm a Tory.
I believe you, Dominic. I totally believe you, Dominic.
And Elizabeth Truss.
Elizabeth Truss.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. And, right, so let's scroll over to the contents page. Here we go, contents. Chapter 1.
Using poor people as kindling. Is that the name of it?
Exactly. Chapter 2, A Tale of Two Nations. Chapter 3, Revenge of the Gig. Chapter 4, Work Ethic. Chapter 5, Buccaneers.
Okay, all right. You don't have to go through it all. I understand. If only it was the real live paper edition, you could use it to start a fire.
Well, I bought that as well, so I got both of them.
You actually went out and bought that with money?
Yes.
How much?
I did, yeah. How much did it cost me? I think the printed version was it $5.99? I've got to
$5.99?
What?
Of money?
I've got to check my Amazon account. But anyway, let me sum everything up as far as this book's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Paul, I'll sum it up for you before you sum it up. Poor people should have made the conscious decision to be born to rich parents, but they didn't, so they get nothing.
Well, that's one summary. That's definitely one summary. My summary is, we have to be poor for them to be rich. And at the moment, we're not poor enough.
Not enough.
To make them rich.
Correct.
Simple.
Yeah. Right. and I'll sum up your summary. Yeah, that's about the it of it. All right, thanks a lot, Isaac. It was a book report. Barnet, hello, Josh.
Hello, hi.
Josh.
Hello.
Yes, Josh, what would you like to say?
Well, I mean, part of the reason for that is that the curriculum, which was brought in many years ago, is a bit stuck in time, and
in what subjects are you thinking of?
All of them, pretty much.
All of them.
So,
like maths.
Yeah, well, particularly maths. I mean, maths is, how useful is maths to most people? The level you're asked to study maths in school is. Pretty difficult. It's hard. It's a strange subject that it asks you to do things which are outside of your normal way of understanding the world, and yet you're supposed to do it, and it's supposed to be valuable.
Well, isn't that the entire purpose of education, to teach you things that you don't know?
Well, only if they're relevant.
You don't think maths is relevant?
In what way is maths relevant?
In what way, are you asking me in what way is maths relevant to life?
Yeah.
You cannot possibly be serious, Josh.
I'm completely serious.
Okay, you walk up to a bar, you've got £15 in your pocket, and a pint, and your pint is £7.60.
No.
Can you afford 2 pints?
I'm not talking about that.
Well, what are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about the extended maths that you're supposed to use in terms of, algebra and all that extended
sines and cosines and all that stuff that we forgot instantly the moment the exam had been concluded.
All that stuff. All you do is you study that to an exam, you pass the exam, and after that you never ever use it again in your whole life.
Unless you go into science or architecture or any one of the other fields that require maths.
Okay, well, that's fine. So you should be, if you do that, then you would be doing that at a further level, not on a level that basic people need to do exactly what you just said, which is be able to go in and have your natural maths that allow you to use it in a normal way in life. Exactly what you said.
But it's very difficult to determine ahead of time which student will become someone who needs maths for their further for their career.
Well,
so you surely have to throw...
That's true of everything.
Exactly. So you need a broad education, which is what's being provided. But you seem to think that you need a more concentrated education dependent on where you will go in life. But how can you know?
No, I don't think that. I don't think you need a more concentrated education, no. But anyway, I gave another example earlier on, which when I was talking to someone, and we were talking over dinner about history, for example, and slavery. So in school, the way slavery is taught is basically European exploitation of Africa.
Yeah.
And that's what's taught.
As opposed to what?
As opposed to the history of slavery.
Which differs in what way?
Well, because then it shows you that human beings for thousands of years have made people slaves and treated them as slaves and so on.
Yes.
So, but the way slavery is taught at the moment, where it means it's European against, basically it means white against black. What that does is actually fuel racism, because
it does.
Yeah, exactly. So
I would have thought it did the opposite of that. I mean, it would bring out a pupil's empathy to those that have been historically wronged.
On the white side, yes. On the black side, no. On the black side, they go, I resent white people for how they have abused my people.
They?
Yeah. That's when I've experienced it in the classroom.
Oh, you're a teacher?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Not entirely sure about that, Josh, and I'm somewhat alarmed. But thanks for that. Not sure about that one. Colnbrook. Nick.
Good evening, Nick.
Yes, sir.
May I share a little story with you? To have another one that's true. A friend of mine...
Hang on. Wait a minute. Are you the chap that keeps calling in with stories, which are actually jokes?
No, they're true stories. I told you about the car, first of all. Absolutely, that was true. Genuinely true. And this one is the same, if you'll allow me.
But what is it about?
This is a young man who gets invited out by his mates to go down the pub for
about not anything that we're actually talking about right now. No, Nick, I suggest you put it down on paper and send it into the Reader's Digest. Okay. Chelsea, Miriam. Oh, an ecstasy of fumbling. Hello, Miriam. Doing the dishes?
Hi. Good evening. I have a question. If a Rwandan man came over here by the dinghy, crossed the channel, and applied for refugee.
Mm-hmm. Small boat. Yeah.
What's going to happen to him?
What's going to happen to him?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. He'll probably get stuck in a hotel somewhere for a couple of years while the government drags its feet and pretends that it's doing something while making a big performance out of being cruel to some poor individuals that are more desperate than you are.
I think they will take him back to his own country. If he doesn't have a house, they will put him in a hostel, proper hostel, I think.
Right.
I imagine. I don't know.
Okay, great call. That's two in a row on the Nicky Abbot show. Is it my fault?
Yes.
I think it probably is. I take full responsibility, like Boris Johnson.
Yeah. Wait.
Doesn't take any responsibility at all. Manchester, Roger.
Hi, good evening, Nick. I was going to be second, but I'm first. Oh, yes, brilliant. I'm glad to be on first. Right.
You've been promoted.
I am, yes, at last. Gosh, maybe one day I might become presenter in about 50 years' time. I would like to talk about the subject. We're talking about immigration now. As far as I'm concerned, it is not being made, unfortunately, I don't want to be pessimistic. It doesn't look like it's going to be a priority by our government to deal with this problem.
Well, they say it's their top priority.
Oh, well, they would do. Well, to get them votes, you've got to reassure the public. You've got to say the right thing, the PC thing, the sort of, no. No, there's an article that was published by the BBC, not a particular fan of them, on their website in the last couple of weeks that points out the Home Office have earmarked £700 million, no less, to take care of the boat people. It's costing our country a lot of money. I mean, as you said, it's not a great percentage increase as per se in respect of our how many millions now live in Britain?
60-odd.
60 million. Yes, but it is costing our country money. Now, yes, we do need a certain amount of foreign immigrants to fill jobs in our country. I've noticed in the NHS, a lot of the nurses are foreign from India. There are a lot of care workers from India and from Africa that work there. They're qualified and experienced. We're good at their job. And we do need certain types of jobs filled by immigrants. That's not a problem. Yes, we do. But it doesn't justify the expense to our country, the considerable expense, like the Bibby Stockholm barge down in Plymouth.
Yes.
It's costing them the food, heating, lighting, I don't know about council tax, but benefits as well. And they're just doing nothing. Well, there are not jobs available for them.
Right, well, I agree, but it's not the cost that you just described. It's the unimaginably large cost of hiring those boats in the first place, with which, if you hired them for 2 years, as we've done, you could put all of those people on Royal Caribbean's most expensive cruise for 2 years and include their food and drink and entertainment.
Well, that's a very nice charitable thing to do. But I mean, what's the point of it? It's costing our government a lot of money. As your interviewee said there, that it basically seems pointless. Okay, yes, it's good to be charitable, but to what extent you be charitable?
But are you suggesting that the government, the problem is that the government isn't processing people fast enough, or that they're coming here?
We shouldn't be doing it at all. I'm suggesting we don't need that volume of people coming here who basically being support. We have our own homeless, as your guest pointed out that you interviewed. We have our own people that live here, own British citizens. We have a homeless problem. I was reading on there's 217,000 homeless people on Shelter's website. I was reading the other day. You know, these are. We have a homeless problem in my city of Manchester with people living on the street. British citizens, you know, we have our own priorities, our own country, without making it priorities of our country to support people.
Well, I've heard that argument before, but I wonder if you think that we're so poor that it's an either or. We can either deal with people that come here, which is, as far as countries in the rest of Europe are concerned, it's much fewer numbers come here than do France and Germany and etc. and so on. So we either have the money for that, or we have the money to, in the common vernacular, take care of our own. Are we really so poor and desperately needy in this country that we only have money to do one of those things?
Well, yes, we do have money, but year on year our national debt has increased. I read this, on an article from that's published on the website. I can't remember which newspaper it is. And the national deficit is 2.6 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, okay, we just carry on loaning, putting ourselves more and more into debt. You know, I think it's like inverse policy making, that's detrimental to not only our government but our national availability of funds. I don't see the point of that policy. Yes, if somebody's coming from another country where it is provable or it's definitely beyond reasonable doubt that they need political asylum because they're escaping for their own personal life and safety, I think we should give asylum and we should give free housing to them. But that
supposes that those people will be able to access the asylum process in the first place. But if they arrive here so-called illegally, then they can't do that. So we'll never know.
No, that's true. But either way, I think we need to lock down our borders. I think we just have to protect our own. And I don't think we should be accepting or permitting so many boat people to come over here.
But when you say so many boat people, you do know that it's just 4% of those that come here are coming here by boat. 4%. It's the 96% that people are actually going to notice. That's the big number, not the almost insignificantly small number of people that arrive here damp and in a dinghy that so much of the of people's ire is concentrated on. It's almost as though the government is just throwing distraction bombs at us, and we are running after each and every one of them.
Sorry, maybe I'm not comprehending exactly everything you just said. 96%, 4% are coming over by boat, so 96%
are coming here to study or to work, or they are coming here because there were these short-lived deals to bring in people from Hong Kong or Ukraine, and those will recede, presumably. But there's no doubt that we do need people to do jobs that used to be done by Europeans who are leaving in great number. I mean, those that are still here, that haven't left already. So who's going to do them? We aren't.
I agree with you. That's why I said in the beginning of my call that we do need a certain amount of foreign workers. But okay, there's 96%. I mean, has there been an actual factual feasibility study to verify what you say about 96% are coming here to educate and better themselves? And there is no guarantee they'll be able to get jobs. So, okay, they get qualified, they get a career, and then what happens? There's no job for them, but they still stay here.
Well, they don't. People who come here, because the number includes those who are coming here to study, of course, and not all of those will stay here. Not all of them want to. I mean, some do. Some apply to stay and do.
This 96%, I mean, where's that based on? I'd like to research it. Is there an article on the internet? Is there a government website about that?
Yeah, these are the government's own figures. There's no doubt about it. That's the truth.
Right, and from there, you've read it on their official website?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Well, I'd be very interested to read that article. I mean, it wouldn't be on the ONS website.
It's something like 700,000. I don't have the exact figures in front of me. I've got about 30 pages. I'll find it, but it's off the top of my head. It's about 700,000 people came here legally, but we aren't... we're not addressing that. The government isn't addressing that. They're pretending that it's not happening by making us concentrate on the 29,000, not the 700,000, but the 29,000 that arrived by boat. It just seems like a smaller problem to me.
It's a form of manipulation. I agree with you completely. Form of manipulation, and we only have the government figures to accept what they say on this website. We don't know whether that's actually truthful.
Yes, but, I mean, at some point you have to believe something. So I'll be prepared to believe that.
Yeah,
but your point about closing our borders, I thought that's what we left the European Union for. What happened to that?
Yeah, well, a lot of the Brexit things and the promises and ideas of Brexit. I mean, I think in some ways Brexit has been made a mockery of, by the way things have turned out and changed. There were a lot of empty promises made in that. I think what did Boris say to him about NHS and so much more money was available.
We promised an enormous amount, none of which has actually come true at the moment.
Politicians are brilliant at making promises and also lying.
It's their speciality, yeah.
I know. It's
all right.
Wonderful.
Thanks a lot, Roger. Holland Park. Hello, Nick.
Oh, hi, Nick. I think how I would apply, are you allowed to protest or not, would be, is any harm being done to anyone else?
What do you mean by harm?
I mean harm of any kind.
Physical?
Mental, no, not just physical. I think also intimidation or things that are, hate speech. That is a very difficult one. But I want to come on to the.
Forgive me though. But what you're describing though is the what is prescribed under the Public Order Act. It criminalises protest that can cause serious disruption, which sounds like what you're saying. I mean, anybody that can say, "Well, I've been serious. My day has been seriously disrupted by your silent protest."
I think disruption is a form of inconvenience, and I'm not sure. It's a very difficult one because the Just Stop Oil protests, they were protesting very peaceably, but they were causing huge inconvenience to drivers, other people. They were stopped, and some of them were jailed. But to my view, every protest that takes place, I've been on protests in central London where they please close the street, you march down Whitehall, wherever. It's an inconvenience.
Well, of course. I mean, no protest is going to be successful or really noticed if it is not inconvenient in some way. If you're marching without inconveniencing anybody, you're not a protester. You're a pedestrian.
Yeah, if you're marching in the road, you're inconveniencing. But anyway, I want to draw a couple of. So I think the protest outside Keir Starmer's office, I think it's a place of work. I would draw the line. I think people campaigning outside of a person's house with their family, I feel a little squeamish about it. I'm not sure if it would be against the law, but his constituency office, I don't see that anything different than protesting outside the Houses of Parliament or Downing Street, a place of work. But I want to ask one other thing, Nick. You're in that nice ivory tower in Leicester Square, and if I came and protested outside your doors, like with a few mates, so we could block the door, and we're very peaceful, we sit down and we stay there. How inconvenienced would you think it reasonable to be? Let's say we're there for hours and hours. Would you expect the police we're very peaceful and we're inconveniencing you because we're blocking the door, you can't go home?
Well, that's different. Blocking the door and essentially holding people hostage is completely different to not inconveniencing people. I mean, if people were just protesting outside and I could walk peaceably through, then no problem. But if you actually padlock the door closed and I can't leave, then no, I would have a problem with that.
Do you see the parallel over there? If you're blocking the street for any reason, the pro-Palestine, pro-Brexit, anti-Brexit, whatever you're doing in the street, you're not keeping people prisoner, but you could be holding up. Actually, people were held up for hours and hours in their cars, almost prisoners. It's very fraught, and I don't see how we'll ever have a situation where everyone is totally happy. Someone will always be a bit more inconvenienced than they want to be, and other people won't be, and then some things will be stopped or curtailed to a point where they say, we don't have freedom. So I think it's really not bad in this country. I mean, come on, guys, go and...
Well, it depends. Yes, it depends. But let's not compare ourselves to China or any place like that, because what's the point? We compare ourselves to where we are now to where we were, let's say 10, 15 years ago. That would be a better comparison to make. But we can agree that not everybody is going to be happy. At least we can agree on that. Walthamstow. Keith.
Good evening, Nick Abbott. Nice to
Keith.
talk to you.
And
screen wash, it should normally smell of methylated spirits, and have you got someone to do that, is put your diluted in and make it even more diluted, splash it round. If it soaks up, you know it's screen wash, but the antifreeze does not foam up.
Now, hang on a minute. Foam up, did you say?
Foam, yeah, as in, you know, like soap suds when you do your washing up.
Yeah.
Screen wash will actually like bubble up as such, whereas antifreeze doesn't.
So, okay, this is good advice. So I have a half full milk carton of this stuff. So if I give it a shake...
Well, yeah, you'd have to put some more water in it because obviously fully diluted, and then give it a shake, and then see if it soaks. If it's frothy, then you'll know.
Right.
But do you not check your water level?
What water level?
Well, in the car, there's like they need water and oil, like they.
Water?
Yeah, water. The water level, the coolant level.
Yeah, coolant. That's not water. That's coolant.
Yeah, well, I call it the water levels. It's the same difference.
It isn't.
It's not. Actually, what you can do if you're not sure if you got a leak or anything. The chap you see on the way home laying in the road is you could, as he's laying there, gently drive over him and let it drip on him, and if he actually wakes up, you'll know you've got a leak there.
That's a good idea, Keith. And if I don't find somebody lying in the road, then I'll just lie in the road myself. And
well, no, that's not advisable. You might run yourself over.
Ah, right. Good idea.
That's not good, is it?
Yeah, right.
Because we want somebody next week to keep it going.
Right. Okay. Good plan. Thanks for that, Keith. I'll give it a quick shake. Maybe I'll see what it tastes like. I can't remember whether he said it tasted. Maybe it tastes funny. Yeah, I'm on about like 3 or 4 pints of coolant a day now, man. But I can handle it. I'm just feeling a bit bilious at the moment, that's all. Sidcup. Hello, Anne.
Oh, hiya. Thank you for taking my call. What I'd like to say is, with the NHS, there's people out there waiting to get diagnosed, and I reckon a lot of them probably will die because of the time waiting. Yet we can send literally billions abroad, yet we don't look after our own people.
Right, but it's not an either or.
Well, it seems to be. It seems to be.
Well, that's a political choice. I mean, we have the money to do both, and we don't just throw money abroad because we're nice people. We do it in order to. It benefits us eventually because it lifts other countries out of poverty, and then they become customers to what we sell. I mean, that's just the way of the world. But
then again, what about our people? What about people that are, not getting diagnosed here and dying? So we've got to suffer for other countries that have been getting our money for
No, Anne,
years.
no. It's like I said, it's not either or. We don't have to suffer because other countries are in receipt of foreign aid. We can do both. It's a political choice not to do both.
Well, that money shouldn't be going abroad. It should be helping our people in our country.
Right, we have the money to do both.
Well, why aren't we?
Well, that's a very good question. That's precisely the question that I'm asking. Why aren't the government doing that? Yes.
Yeah, they're not. The thing is, if I'm honest, they've opened the gates to everyone in this country, so I think that's why we're in a predicament as well.
And
Too many people.
Yeah, have you been to your local hospital or your GP lately?
Yes, I have,
Right.
yeah.
And have you noticed that about 30% of the people there are from abroad? If you add up the numbers who are children of those who have come from other countries, then it's about 40%, something like that. So be careful what you wish for, Anne. Let's go straight to St Ives. Is there a good reason why we shouldn't? Hello, Jay.
Hi, Nick. I stand with Rishi right now. After he sorted out immigration problem, can he sort out we got a massive problem with supermarkets. The aisles are full of foreign food right now, and I went there today, right now, Tesco, and I was really confused. Went to the aisles, Polish food, Asian world food,
yes,
French bread,
Mexican food.
Oh my God! I got I've got confused. So I think Rishi Sunak's next priority, number 6, should be reduced. That will help him to reduce inflation if they stop selling all the foreign food, which lemons, oranges. Limes. Why do we need them?
Why do we need
can go
them?
back
Yes.
to
We don't need
fish,
fruit. Quite right.
But it's everything is in the book. Have you read the book?
What book?
They losing the plot. No, the plot. Nadine Dorries' book. It's everything is in there. Please read it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be doing that, Jay.
I think everybody in school starts reading that book because this is the. No, honestly, this is the truth.
Yes.
Everyone is after Boris, and the Boris he got all the calls right. So why are they doing all this investigation on him?
Right, you're all over the shop.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Like Boris Johnson himself. Some of that made sense, Jay. Manchester, hello, Raj.
Hi there, Nick. It's Raj here again. I was just going to say to your guy there beforehand, I think when you talked about Macquarie's, or the Severn Trent Water's debt repayments, it won't be linked to inflation, but it will be linked to base rates. So obviously, as you know, base rates went from 0.25 to 5.25. That's how their repayments will be structured against that. So I just want to sort of let you know that.
Okay, very, very important point there, Raj.
Absolutely not. I completely agree. No, it is very important. No, it is very important because people think it's linked to inflation because it's not. It's linked to base rates.
Right. Okay. And is that it?
That's all.
All right. A pedant calls. Thanks a lot, Raj. That really puts that whole argument that I made in the shade. I retract my entire argument. Hillingdon, Hassan.
Hi, good evening, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Hello, Hassan.
I think you're absolutely right. Your last statement that you made there, they are replaced by people not very competent. I mean, I'm a big lover of coffee, and I've been to many, many coffee shops. And I totally agree with you that they are replaced by people on the on training on the spot. But I find that the biggest loophole that the government had, Home Office, was the allowing people into the country who are doing a master's degree. Any person that does a master's degree can bring the dependents.
They've sort of clamped down on that a bit, haven't they, the government?
Well, it's a big issue. It's only now they've woken up, but that was one of the biggest issues. So anybody wanted to bring their friends or their parents or their wife or children, all they had to do was do a master's degree.
Well, you make it sound simple. I mean, doing a master's degree is no small thing. And if they were to come here to spend the kind of money that a foreign student has to, then is it not reasonable that they would bring their significant other with them?
Yes, but at the same time, then why are they crying about it? Because at the end of the day, these are immigrants legally coming in. The loophole of allowing anybody. I mean, the biggest culprits were people from Nigeria, people from India.
What do you mean? When you say culprits, what do you mean?
Okay, that's what the Home Office said was people who are taking advantage of...
you mean studying and then not leaving when they finish their studies? Is that what you mean?
And also bringing their families at the same time.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that that's an unreasonable request for, as far as they're concerned. I mean, if you were married and you had the opportunity to go and study abroad and benefit the people in that country by paying the kind of fees for your studies that couldn't possibly be afforded by the locals, then it's not unreasonable that you would bring your wife with you, isn't it?
Yes, but I'm sure. I mean, I don't know exactly. I agree. Masters is not an easy subject, but surely there are a lot of universities will grab your money anytime and let you in.
Right. Okay. So you're saying that perhaps some are coming in and their studies aren't above board. That the degrees they're doing is just a smokescreen for them to come in illegally. Is that right?
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying. Okay. All right. Thanks, Hassan. Here's a call in Rochester. Charlie.
Hi, Nick. How's it going, me old cocker?
Not bad.
Yes, well, that riff program tonight, I've never been so shocked in my life. But as two purveyors of the utmost taste, are we?
Are we?
Are we the two most uptakers of the the most.
Yeah, I recommend you just get on with it, Charlie.
Yeah,
time's ticking on.
Okay, yeah. I've got my tongue slightly tied.
Yes.
Yes. Well, they
how was it?
Summer from the police doing that every breath you take.
Yes.
And then I thought of your favourite programme, and it is, without a doubt, the greatest television moment spread out of The Sopranos. Do you remember the moment where they used Henry Mancini's Peter gun when they were putting the plant in Tony's house?
I remember when they were putting the plant in Tony, where the FBI was putting the... Yeah, I remember the moment, but I don't remember what tune that they were playing at the time.
By Jove, you don't remember? I find that. It was Every Breath You Take and Peter Gunn by Henry Mancini, and that great guitar, the twangy guitar.
All right. Charlie, I would recommend you lie down with a cold compress on your forehead. It seems like you're having a fit. But I wish you all the best. Good luck with that. Hereford. Hello, Heather.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I was agreeing with your stance on some of the comments. And I just wanted to run a few ideas to you that crossed my mind. It might not make a lot of sense, but I'm cross because we were promised new hospitals and I haven't heard any more about it.
The 40 new hospitals, yeah.
Yeah, and when they do build them, can they get all the architects to get their heads together and come up with a plan that works for everybody, well planned? And I'd like to see these hospitals out on sort of ring roads and bypasses and motorways so that when you have serious accidents, we should have helicopters that take you and you arrive on the roof of the hospital and then you come down in a lift and you go into the operating theatre straight away. And
well, that's an interesting idea, Heather. I'll pass that on. Thanks for that. Rochester. Hello, Lou.
Oh, hello, Nick, darling.
Lou.
How are you?
I am great, mate.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to hear that. So, I kind of missed the beginning of your show, but are you telling me that you went to the public gallery in the Commons?
Yes, I did.
What on earth made you do that?
I thought it would be a fun day out.
Yeah, sounds like it was.
I actually went for the beer. Well, not the beer, but I went for the food. I thought I was going to have a subsidised meal in one of their fancier restaurants. But, of course, because it was last day of term, it was all booked out.
Oh, by those greedy, hideous people. Mm. So, I just want to tell you, by the way, I've had Jackie and Liz over tonight, and we've had Secret Santa Christmas doings.
Right, you say that as though I know who they are.
Well, I feel like you do. I've mentioned them a few times.
I don't.
No, okay, but they're good friends of mine, and we've had some gorgeous dub music on the old Spotify. Okay. Dennis Brown, Money in My Pocket, Althea and Donna.
Wait, but your point, Lou, is...
But my point is, sorry, I'm digressing. I'm wandering. I will come back to the point. So I was in Berlin again last weekend, and it's a beautiful town.
I don't know about that.
No, it's fabulous. And the history is just... You are walking in a history book, aren't you? Come on, Everywhere you go, there's history all around you.
Yeah, everywhere you go, there you are. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I came home and I thought, I need to have a deep dive into Berlin history. And what did I find on BBC4? Berlin, 1933. Have you seen it?
No.
It's fabulous.
Lou, your point is?
My point is, watching this, Berlin in 1933, and what was happening, just sounded very familiar to me. Do you know what I mean?
No. Southwark. Hello, Luke.
Hello. Is that Nick?
Yes, Luke.
So if you take out the B's and the K and add like a S and a C, you get fascist or something. I don't know. Anyway, you said that fish were people too. I don't think that's correct. But I do want to ask about this whole sewerage thing. I think those figures include the storm drainage as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't go so far as to say it's all sewerage, because it's a mix of both. Whatever's.
Oh, it's like a cocktail.
Yeah, a cocktail of nonsense, exactly. But that's the thing. So I've been trying to find the data on this, so I could, sound all smart on the radio.
Right.
But I cannot find it. So it does beg the question: where are these numbers coming from? I don't really understand.
Well, the numbers that I just gave you were from the actual outflow measuring instruments that seriously underestimate the amount that's going, because many of them aren't operating. They don't work.
And if they're not operating, then how can they get numbers?
Well, the numbers are from those that are operating, which implies that the situation is much worse than what has previously been explained. But
so they don't actually measure the flow. They only
do.
Measure no, they don't. They only measure the time, the amount of time that there's an open and a close. There's nothing to do with the amount of flow. That's why there's been calls to increase the measuring capability.
Right.
So the flow is just an estimation. I guess this is why.
But if they're estimating from the measurement instruments that they have that it's 29,000 swimming pools worth of raw sewage that has been pumped.
Though. It's not.
Hang on a minute. Wait a minute. If they are estimating that it is 29,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth of raw sewage, then even if they're out by, let's say, 50%. That's still a heck of a lot of raw sewage that's going straight into the Thames.
But it's not. That's what I'm saying. First of all, it's a combination. It's the cocktail of nonsense, as we just discussed. So we don't know how much is raw sewage and how much is actual storm drainage. And secondly, like I said, it's not actually measuring volume at all. There's no measurements of volume. That's why they're calling for increases to the capabilities of the monitoring devices so that they can measure volume. All they measure at the moment is when there is like a tap turn on and a tap turn off. There's nothing about the amount of volume.
But you're not listening to me. Even if they were out by 50%, that's still a massive amount.
How do you get to that number if you don't know what the volume is? How do you get to that?
Well, the inference is that they don't know what it is because you say they don't know. They say they do know. And I'm more inclined to believe them than you, because I don't know who you are. I mean, you sound like a shill for the water companies to me, but I could be wrong. You don't work for a PR company, do you, by any chance? Downham Market. Hello, Brendan.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Thank you for taking my call. Just two points, Nick, I wanted to say. The threshold of £325,000. You spoke to a lady earlier on there. She said her dad had a house in Winchmore Hill. I lived in Winchmore Hill for 27 years. I'm now in Norfolk. But if you leave your house directly to your kids, I do believe it's £325,000, but you get another £125,000 on top of that. So that makes it £450,000. I don't know if you're aware of that. I think that's close enough. Are you aware of that?
I think you can pass on a house that you are living in, or I don't recall precisely what the rules are, but they're slightly different if you have a house.
Yeah, you pass it on to it. I don't agree with the inheritance tax. I don't think any person in this country does. I run a pub. I'm struggling desperately at the moment. You had another gentleman talking about VAT.
Now, hang on a minute. You don't think people agree that there should be an inheritance tax, or you don't think that you think that people don't think it should be reduced? Which are you saying?
I'd like to see the government doing something with inheritance tax, like moving the value of that property at least to £500,000, because most properties in the south or around London, just a 3-bedroom semi, you're looking at, as that lady says, anything between £500,000 and £600,000.
But
That's what
given
you're looking
that,
at.
yeah, I understand that. But given that, it's still only affecting 4% of the wealthiest families.
May I ask you where you get that 4% from?
But that's the commonly agreed statistic. You look it up. That's what it is.
Right. Well, I wasn't aware of that. I thought it was a lot more than that, because anyone I spoke to where I was down there, they all have, if they own their own house, you're looking at every house is worth over £500,000 in Winchmore Hill, especially. I know that. I lived there for 27 years.
Yeah, but most people don't live in within the M25. Most people live outside. They live in areas where the property values aren't that much.
Well,
and a lot of people, and most people don't own their own homes.
Correct, absolutely correct. Which is a double-barreled question, because the other point I was saying, it was the Tories right now, and I've always been a Tory supporter since I came over from Ireland, are just doing this to get back into power. And we have to pay our taxes, but I don't know where this money's going to come from. This is the problem.
Well, this is what Jeremy Hunt is saying, that it's going to come from forcing those who are long-term sick to go back to work under threat of having their free prescriptions and benefits removed.
Well, this is never going to happen, Nick. It's just never going to happen. He's just blowing wind, because we all know that's not going to happen. It can't happen, And there's a lot of people out there that they should be going back into work, but a lot of people that, deserve to be looked after.
Well, when you say it can't happen, perhaps it can't happen as an effective policy, but it certainly can happen that people will have their lives turned upside down by being reassessed by, admittedly, the government's admitting that they're not going to be reassessed by their doctor or some medical professional. So who is going to be doing this reassessing?
I'd love to know. That's a very good question, Nick, and that's the question that's bugging me. Who's going to be doing the reassessment? I don't know. I just don't think this will be passed in Parliament. I can't see where this is coming from. I really don't, Nick. That's
it occurs to me, though, that it's not intended to work as a policy. They're not going to free up money by reassessing those who are long-term sick and forcing them back into work under threat of losing their blooming medicines, for crying out loud. So it seems to be another distraction. Them saying, well, we tried to free up money by getting these shirkers back into work, but it didn't work because, the courts or liberal lefties or the wokerati or, whatever it might be. And that's those people there, those shirkers there, the reason that your life is not improving. We tried our best. I think it's going to be another one of those. Another distraction bomb. Wolverhampton, hello, Ricky.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
So, just a bit of the story. I've got 3 children, and during lockdown, 2 was in primary school, 1 was in secondary school. The 2 in primary school, they're okay, but during lockdown, neither of the schools actually communicated with my children at all. They weren't given no work, they was given nothing at all. But they're still expected to have the sort of standard as if they was at school. And my oldest kid, who's currently in GCSE year, he's got that sort of conclusion now of the school wasn't interested in me, so why should I be interested in school?
I find that incredible to hear that the schools didn't communicate with you or provide work for your kids during the lockdowns.
There was many schools that, to be honest, didn't really do much for children. I know some did, some was brilliant. However, a lot of schools never did. And it's broken the relationships, especially with my oldest child, like between school and him. But then I also think that the other side of it is that nowadays there's no work. So a lot of parents will put into children, it's okay, you can leave school and you can claim benefits, so you don't need schooling.
That can't be true.
I mean, obviously, I get you're from like a sort of posher area. But, yeah, a lot of children these days would rather leave school and just claim benefits rather than, which is as bad as it aims.
So you've got the breakdown between the children and schools, but then you've also got the other option of, I don't need to work.
Right. Well, that you started out alarming me, and it hasn't got any better as we've continued to speak. Okay, well, thanks for that, Ricky. Bridgend. Hello, Janice.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Janice.
I've forgotten now everything I was going to say to you, but I know that I'm supposed to speak about Cameron because your producers, when I first rang up, I rang up a couple of times, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
They seem to be scared to put me on.
There's only one.
Well, the one.
He's not the producer. I'm the producer.
Oh, okay, Nick.
I am the decider.
Are you?
Yes.
So you're the one then that's decided not to read any of my messages I've sent?
No. I can only read what is put up in front of me.
See? So who's not putting it up in front of you?
Well, it's...
Anyway, I'm supposed to speak about Cameron. Because at first I wanted to speak about how you cheer me up on a Friday.
Oh.
I'm an eccentric person.
Uh-oh.
Right? I'm eccentric. My kids say that I'm special, but...
Eccentric?
Warning.
Yes.
Yeah, warning. If you want to talk about cars...
No.
I've had every car
I don't.
known to man.
I do not wish to talk about cars.
Oh, I used to park a car on the hill and have to push it down every morning to start it. Take the kids to school.
Who was behind the wheel?
Yeah, I was younger then. I could run alongside.
Right, and then leap in. Good plan.
And then leap in.
Yeah.
Couldn't leap in now. I fall flat on my face.
Yes.
I'll be gone.
Anyway. That would look eccentric.
Well, me being eccentric.
Yeah.
Is it right for a 63-year-old to be skipping down the road? Why not?
63? No.
Why?
Well, you'll put your hip out, Janice. You will.
No, I won't. I go swimming.
Your dancing days will be over.
Oh, no. Well, when I rang you up earlier, I wasn't listening to you.
Huh?
I was sort of like, I had the tablet on because of the hostage release.
You were on tablets? Yeah.
I was singing on Star Maker.
That part, I believe.
And I was listening to you via one ear.
Wow, you were in receipt of... Yeah, you were multitasking, brain-wise. Yeah.
Brain-wise. So what do you want to talk about, Nick? What are we talking about?
Absolutely nothing at all, Janice. I think we've spoken quite sufficiently. You have delighted us enough. Anybody that comes on and says, what do you want to talk about, is this a big no from me?
No.
You have to actually have some clue as to what it is you want to talk about before you call me. This isn't dial a friend. Cork. Derek.
Hello, finally.
Derek.
Okay, you were constantly saying, going on about, the government, they haven't done one thing successful. You forgot about the Windsor framework.
The Windsor framework?
Right. Yes, for Northern Ireland.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, that was one positive thing, because you were saying that not one thing no one can call, not one thing that the government, so that's one thing that the government has done.
How has it changed? How has it changed your life in a positive way?
It's not. I think that your crowd is they're bad here, but they're actually worse over there, I think. And Trump as well. Hopefully he won't get back on, the government. But I'm just saying, just the positive, that's all. That was the reason why I called.
Right, so you're saying that the positive thing they did was fixing the problem that they caused in the first place a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just so we know where we are.
You're probably right, yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Derek. Better luck next time. I'm not totally sure whether that was pro or anti. I don't know whether he was being sarcastic or not. I'm going to go ahead and assume that he was. Winchester, Helena.
Hello.
Helena.
I just want to reciprocate what the chap said, the previous caller said about the allocated housing and everything. I just would like to say I have to pay private rental, still have to work, and I'm 72, for goodness sake,
to pay the rent because I can't get social housing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that is my gripe. Why they get houses and
so what you're saying is that the reason that you can't get social housing is because they all come here and they get free houses.
Well, they're allocated, aren't they? As soon as they come over here.
Not to my knowledge.
Well,
otherwise, why would they be staying in hotels and being put up on barges and so on? I don't think that that's true at all. People seem to... there's this clip that went around from Sky News. They went to... I can't remember where it was. Some dilapidated place, and these sort of desperate people, no doubt Tory voters to a one, they blamed all of the problems in their lives on those people that are coming here, as though the government has had absolutely no influence on their lives. It's just extraordinary that some people are so gullible as to believe that 20,000 people, damp people, arriving on our shores from a small boat that pushed off from a beach in France, those are the reasons, those people, they're the reasons that your life didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. Is it not possible that it's more likely to be the government that has been running this country for the past 14 years rather than 20-odd thousand people who arrived damp in a dinghy? Whiteleaf, Philip.
Good evening, how are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Right, I don't have a problem with immigration personally. My grandparents came from Italy, my wife is Polish, but there has to be some sort of control, because when it comes down to it, if Labour or Conservative are not putting in place housing and the services to look after people, it's going to be a big problem.
But you say there has to be control. There is control. The government have controlled these numbers. They have come in completely legally. The numbers that they don't control are about 2% of those who enter, and those are the people that come in by boats. But the way the government talks is that's the bigger problem. But it just isn't. It's utterly insignificant.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But the control is not the Labour and Conservatives have to be honest with the people of this country about migration into this country. It's as simple as that.
But what do you mean by honest? You mean tell the people how many we need to function for the economy to
the situation is.
Be beneficially affected? But people aren't going to like that. There's a certain section of the population that want to hear the number zero, regardless of how it will affect them.
But people need to be told the truth. You will never solve this problem until both parties are honest with the population of this country, the electorate. It's simple as that.
Right. OK, thanks, Philip. Liverpool, Jay.
Hi, Nick. You okay?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I think what's in the air at the moment, Nick, if I can explain it, is anger and frustration across the country. Now, that may come from Cameron and Osborne's austerity measures, which have seemed to not stop. And you've got people who are working and they're having no fun. And the lives are getting squeezed. And also, it's not a case of like having a proper immigration, but it does seem to be pretty congested at the moment. The roads, the supermarkets, everything like that. You mentioned the figure before, 700,000 people. That seems a hell of a lot. It really does. Now, what the answer is to that? As soon as you express an opinion, you put into a bracket or a pocket, which is wrong. You're simply saying, listen, people aren't having a good time here and things need to improve rapidly. So how that happens, I don't know.
Right. Well, it seems pretty disingenuous for a government that has been in power for 13 years to blame, which is essentially what they're doing, is to blame a couple of tens of thousands of people who are arriving here by boat for everything that the government have failed to put right over the last 13, 14 years they've been in power. That I don't buy, but some people do. North Carolina. Hello, Graham.
Nick, lovely to talk to you.
Graham.
Somebody's got to say it. You know, I mean, we're talking about Elon Musk here.
Oh, you are.
And well, you mentioned it. You brought it up. It was the second thing you brought up.
Oh, I see. It's my fault. Go ahead.
Well, no, it's when you're part of the system, Nick. You know, you don't have to take responsibility, but you know, you're in the pool.
Part of the MSM, yes.
Whatever. Yeah. So he's he doesn't mince words, does he?
No, he doesn't. No.
And I don't really think that it's going to affect. Well, it may affect a few advertisers, but I think that some people are going to find that very refreshing.
You think?
Well,
advertisers? People might find it. People who are who just wait a minute. People who want to just say whatever they like, that whatever dopey idea that flits across their vacant mind, they want to just vomit that up on social media. Those people will love it. Advertisers, on the other hand, that's completely different.
Contortionists might love it too. The other thing I wanted to mention was this global warming business. I think that Obama is going to have trouble with his $12 million estate on the island of wherever that is, Martha's Vineyard. Yeah. If the sea rises, you know, he'll need a boat.
Well, he can go and pick up Donald Trump, because Donald Trump will be using Melania as a flotation device.
Oh, Nick, come on. See, I think that deep down, you are actually using silent builder's language.
Yeah. Deep down, deeper and down, like status quo.
Yeah.
All right.
You need radar to hear it.
Exactly. Yeah. Not really. I think I'm broadcasting loud and clear. Thanks a lot, Graham. Appreciate it. As people up your way say. Belfast, Brendan.
Hello, good evening. I'm more or less, usually, in my own mind anyway, a Friday, Saturday night type of guy. But I was listening to the conversation. I never ring on a Sunday. And you probably don't even know what I'm talking about, because I'm... Anyway, while I was waiting...
Not so far.
I know.
Clear it up for me, Brendan.
Right. I rang up specifically to talk about Boris Johnson and his evidence to the COVID inquiry, and how that, in my mind, could reshape and reorganise the Tory party into the future just by that one performance over 2 days.
Well, you think they've moved towards him? He has cemented his position?
Big time.
Really?
But, big time.
You thought he did well?
Look, see, before I get to the COVID thing, there was, if you'd so allow me, please.
Well, I'm running out of time here, Brendan. I don't think we can take a detour.
Straight there, Johnson, then. Yeah, I think I'm in the middle of reviewing my opinion of him, and it's not that I don't think he's a right-wing Tory rascal, at best, but I think the account he gave himself at the COVID inquiry over those 2 days, without notes, without support staff, without anyone, has made me reevaluate, because he was able to name dates.
Reevaluate in a positive way. Well, I don't know. I honestly, maybe I watched a different person in a different inquiry, but that wasn't the conclusion I came to, Brendan. I came out thinking Johnson's a busted flush. He's a haircut without a heart or a clue. And his shambolic act has been shown to be a sham. And if he's being twinned with Nigel Farage as a dream team, well, Nigel Farage is the millionaire posing as a beer-drinking man of the people who is more at home celebrating with champagne at the Ritz, which he did when he successfully sold us the fantasy of Brexit. I mean, I don't think the two of them are fit to run a Christmas party, let alone a political party. So, if not them, then who, I guess, is the question. Brighton, hello, Max.
Oh, hi, Nick. Hi there. Thanks for taking the call. Love your show. I have to say that quickly.
Thanks.
To start with. But my point was about... Sorry?
But.
No, my point was about going right back to the wonderful Meghan Markle and simply saying that well, given all, it's very difficult to be kind of national with national pride about this country, given what's going on at the moment.
Yes.
But do we really want Meghan the Conqueror? And that's
what does that mean?
I think
Meghan the Conqueror. Who's she conquering?
Sorry?
Who's she conquering?
Well, she's trying to, in terms of our lovely establishment, which has been going for 1,000 years or
She's
more.
She's trying to conquer our establishment. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the fact that she's trying to chip holes in it for her own gain.
How did she do that?
How is she doing that? By questioning the integrity of the monarchy, etc., etc.
Questioning the integrity of the monarchy.
Exactly.
Right, because that's the press's job. They do that all the time.
But not as well as she has.
Well, how has she done that?
She's done that by saying that they're racist. She's done that by saying that...
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think it would be more or less likely that members of the royal family were or were not racist, or had expressed a racist thought out loud? Do you think it would be more or less likely that that would happen?
I've no idea, but I think if you have
give me an opinion based on your knowledge.
Well, no, because the way I see it is this. I think racism is a kind of questioning of something that's not from your own knowledge. And I think that perhaps I would, if I had someone coming into my family who is not racist.
Yeah. I think this is a long way around of saying yes. Yes, it would be more likely than not that at least some members of the royal family would express racist thoughts.
I don't think so.
Well, it sounded like you were saying yes to me.
No, I was saying, Nick, I was saying this. I was saying that racism is a difficult, sensitive topic. And I would say that if all that I'm getting from Meghan's kind of, which are very veiled, which is more nasty than anything else. In other words, if you want to really confuse somebody, you say, I'm not going to tell you what I really hate about you, but I'll think about it. You know what I mean? So I think what she's saying is they question the colour of the skin, which doesn't mean racist. They might say,
a little bit.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it might be all of a piece. I mean, their reactions did seem to be a bit off to me. I mean, not entirely welcoming her into the fold. I mean, that I can't remember what her name is now, but she showed up wearing a brooch on her dress for the first dinner, which was of a black slave boy.
Who was that?
I don't know, Princess what's it? I can't remember these people's names. Whoever it was. And then claimed, it was just an accident. It's a coincidence. I just plucked from one of the thousands of brooches that I have at my disposal one of a little black slave boy on for a dinner with Meghan Markle.
Well, I have no idea about those kind of codes. I suppose what I'm trying to say is that
not much of a code, really, but maybe it was just an accident. Yes.
Well, exactly, and all those things are kind of possibly overread. But I just think maybe she overread them, perhaps. And I think that Charles took her up the aisle. All of the country went great.
Yes.
You know, and therefore...
And then they asked them to live their lives based on the script that had been written for them. Now, who would want to do that? What kind of a person would want to just give up the rest of their life for a script that had been written for them by the press? Not even really by the royal family, by the press. You've got to be like Kate. You have to show up and smile continuously and not say anything, ever. If I played you a tape of two... Yeah, you couldn't. I bet you couldn't. If I played you a tape of six young women, I bet you would not be able to pick out of them which one was Kate. You've got no idea what she sounds like because she's never said anything.
Okay, well, you have that scenario, but also you have the other scenario, which is if you really feel that, if you think, well, I can't do this, have the lovely wedding, have all the money and all the privilege, and go away and get on with your life.
No, there is no going away and getting on with your life, because the press had a fit that you could see from space, and they're still having one now, that she refused to just stand there and take the abuse.
Well, if she was wise, as we all have to in life, maybe she should have just thought, well, I'm just going to ignore them and not fight back.
Ignore them? Are you kidding me? How can you possibly ignore an institution that's putting you on the front pages of their newspapers and covering you in ordure day after day after day?
Well, maybe not write a book called Spare and follow it up.
She didn't.
No, but have a hobby that does that. Maybe kind of be a bit more real about the way the world works.
No, that is real. They are being real. Writing a book about this experience is the it of being real. What you want is for them not to be real. You want the antithesis of that.
I want to be real about the fact that if you don't get on in a situation, you have to be positive about the next situation.
They did. They were positive. They were positive about the next situation. They left. That's a very positive thing to do. It was quite brave as well, I think, but to give up all that folderol.
I agree it's brave, but the way they made their money was to go back to what they had.
What does that mean?
They had the way they made deals with Netflix was because of what they had, not what they were at that point. What they weren't in their present. They were going back to their past to make money.
They were going back to their past to make money. Now you've really lost me, Max. What they were doing was they were sourcing from their lives something that might be interesting to media organisations that were paying them a lot of money to unburden themselves. What else were they supposed to do?
Nick,
write fiction?
Maybe we differ on that point.
Well, Max, you sound very much like a royal hem sniffer to me.
I'm not at all. I'm just trying to see the objective point of view, and I don't think that. I think to play victim for that length of time and hurt everyone and disrupt people all the time is not a way forward, and not a very positive way forward when they're making tons of money out of it.
Yeah, I think that playing victim is only contingent on being a victim. And they continue to be a victim. She's rubbished in the press day after day after day. She's not playing a victim. She is a victim.
So you see her as a victim?
She is a victim of the British press and the British establishment, who have levelled their guns at her and pounded away on an almost continuous basis ever since she refused to live her life according to the script. Yes.
But do you think she's exacerbating that by her actions at all?
No, it wouldn't make the slightest difference if she locked herself in a cupboard and never came out again, because the press would continue to write about her. This disgraceful woman hasn't shown her face to support Prince Charles in his drive to save the world. You know, they would just make stuff up as they do.
Well, maybe you're right. I don't know, but I just feel that she. I think for the British populace, it's just that kind of victim stuff doesn't work.
Actually, Max, you're talking about old people, and as usual, old people are the problem. The royal family is universally supported by old people. Old people.
Young people can take all the victim stuff.
Old people love the royal family. Young people aren't that bothered. And young people, by the way, are by far on the side of Hazard and Sparkles than they are on Chaz and Wills and Whatsit. They just are.
I'm just saying that most people in this country kind of get on with it, and that's not an old people's point of view. That's a young people's point of view too.
What does that mean? We get on with it. I mean, the two things are not related at all. Most people's lives are normal; they're ordinary. They don't come to the attention of the press. And if they did, the press wouldn't still be writing about them like 6 years after they first hoved into view.
Well, okay, let me just make this one small point. Do you think writing that book helped their cause?
Yeah, they made a lot of money out of it. And why shouldn't they put their side of the story? Because the royal family have their side of the story. Even if it doesn't come from their own mouths directly to us, it comes via their client press directly to us. So, yeah, if they hadn't written the book, then we would not have heard their story. Because the press are absolutely, completely and totally uninterested in giving their side of it. But anyway, it's been a delight, Max, and I wish you all the best. Bermondsey, Lavinia Grace.
Oh, hi, Nick. How are you, mate?
I am great, mate.
Oh, it's so lovely, lovely, lovely.
Lovely.
To hear your lovely voice.
Lovely.
It really is.
Lovely.
You know, I really look forward to hearing you. Honestly, I do.
Well, this is beginning to sound alarming.
No. Please don't do this to me, Nick. What I want to say, okay, you know what I mean? I want to say a couple of things, right?
Oh.
And now, what's his name? Richie or Tichy Shunak, right? What I want to say about him...
suit size.
Yeah. I would call him... what's the word, actually? Little legs.
Oh.
And also... do you know what I think he looks like? What they call them dogs.
A dog?
Begins with an S. It begins with, because I can't pronounce my S's.
A schnauzer?
No.
Sausage dog?
Sausage dog.
Sausage dog. Yes.
Yeah, he looks like a sausage dog, right? And I would call him also Little Legs.
Right.
But if you take away all
very offensive.
Well, what it is, what I'm actually trying to say, Nick, I am being honest.
Yes.
And I have an opinion. And that's how he looks. But also, I want to say something else, actually, when I look at that man. If you take away his money, all his money, what has he got? What is there? What has he got, Nick? Take all the millions away.
Yeah.
His wife's millions away. What is there? Absolutely nothing.
Well,
all he's got is little legs, like a little sausage dog.
Right, okay. Sounds like you've given that a lot of thought, Lavinia. Maybe a little bit too much thought. Try not thinking about him so much, but I appreciate the call. I mean, that's just plain offensive, to describe the Prime Minister of this country as a little sausage dog, whereas, in fact, he's a bile-filled stick insect. Cambridge, Clint.
Hi there. Yes. Well, I'm definitely one of the fours that will be going over to Labour now after 10 years of voting Conservative. The reason why I say this is because the membership and everything else is going up, and we seem to be forgotten people in the Conservative Party at the moment. It's really getting to a stage now where we are desperate in the sense of, me and my family, we lost quite a lot of money anyway. We'll just say that regarding, we haven't been looked after properly. We've had to reduce our costs, and it's becoming, but, my own daughter, she wants to work in Europe, and it's just caused a lot of issues, and it's really a catch-22 because I was actually wanting to come out of Europe, so it's hit me hard, really, in my own family.
Right, but there's no indication that Keir Starmer is of a mind to make any of the above better for you. I mean, he's not interested in freedom of movement. He's not interested in rejoining the European Union or even the single market. So why would you think that it would that your circumstance would improve under a Labour party led by him?
I honestly think after this 13 years and the changeovers we've had, we've just got to me and my family, we have to now give our children opportunities and take a risk. I mean, we have to take a risk now.
Yeah, but you did that before, Clint. You took a risk before and you voted to leave the European Union. And by your own admission, that's not really working out for you.
It's a nightmare for me. I mean, I have to live with this, and it's a constant, in my own household. It's one side and the other, and I've made me and my wife, we've had screaming matches, arguments, and my daughter's opportunities, I can't look her sometimes in the face what I'm doing at the moment. I thought I was making the right decisions, and I've screwed up, really, and it's just, I don't know. I don't know who to go for. We were thinking about Ed Davey, but then it's just the catch-22 at the moment, because my daughter, the other thing is my daughter is not, she's actually more to the left, so it's really difficult at the moment. We're going through some problems in our own household, not just on the wider picture. We've our business. I mean, the business we do at the moment. So I'm a dentist, and it's causing me a lot of issues. I mean, the membership at the moment as well. They're raising the I don't know if you know this, but they're raising the membership. I don't know if that's with all parties, but it is with the Conservatives. So that's going up. So I said to the chap.
Well, by how much? To what?
I mean, it's going up about an extra £10. It's not a lot, but it's each month. It's just desperate for them. We're just desperate as a party at the moment to get the money coming in. I mean, my other colleague in Peterborough, he's another person that's leaning to the left now. We've just got no options left. We've got no options left, and it's really difficult. Nobody wants to speak to us in our conservative, now social places, our clubs and things. Nobody wants to communicate with us. It's really difficult. It's just bide your time, stay quiet, don't talk to the media.
Okay. Yeah, and if you do put out a pamphlet advertising your services as a Conservative MP, they tend to, these days, not actually put the word Conservative on the pamphlet, and they colour it green, as though they're going to fool us as to which party they actually belong to. Very strange days. Appreciate that call. Thank you, Clint. Let's have North Carolina. Graham.
Hey, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but in the 40s, 40,000 people, civilians, were killed in the Blitz. And was anybody calling for a ceasefire? Maybe maybe you can't compare the two, but certainly at the time, Germany wasn't really holding back with civilians all over the world.
Right. So what's your point? There shouldn't be a ceasefire because we've had wars in the past.
No, I didn't say I didn't say that. I'm just saying that 1,500 or 1,700 Israelis were killed by people who maybe they were disenfranchised by the Israelis because they couldn't get what they wanted and didn't like Jews, and massacred 1,500 people on the 7th.
Right, and then, but what about what happened? Okay, but what about what happened on the 8th and the 9th and the 10th and the 11th and the 12th? Well, October the 7th wasn't the beginning and the end of history.
I understand that, Nick, but at the same time, I don't think that the Hamas are angels. What did they do for the?
I don't think anybody. No one's describing Hamas as angels. No, we're just.
What did they do for the? What did they do for the populace of Gaza?
Well,
they were elected.
Yeah,
they were elected by by whoever is there. I'm not really sure who is
as
there.
Half the population are children. Those people did not elect Hamas. They just grown up with them leading their country, and unless you are suggesting that children should overthrow the government. In which case, that's a matter for you, Graham. Let's have a call in Harrow. Jonathan.
Hello, Nick.
Harrow.
I have to be a bit quiet today because I had an hour and a half conversation on can I say the brand name, on the Google Meets with my lawyer in Kolkata, and I was speaking too loudly.
Are you asking me if you can say the brand name Google?
Yeah, because, I have a tendency to do the loud speakings.
Yeah. Right, they could hear you without the Google whatever it's called. Just lean out the window and shout; they'll hear you just fine.
I don't know if I can mention the name because the lawyer in Kolkata took my money and he's doing nothing. But anyway, I got a bit agitated. I had a few points to make since my trip back because I was in holiday in the Philadelphia.
You went to Philadelphia on holiday. Why did you do that?
Because I was stressed in this country.
So you went to Philadelphia. That is the normal choice for those who are suffering from stress.
And I'll tell you something, that now again I'm having to, wash the pennies and cut my coat according to my class because I stayed at the Marriott.
Hang on a minute.
Filbert Street.
Wait. Did you say you have to wash the pennies? Why did you have to do that?
Wash the pounds and pennies because...
You washed the pounds and the pennies?
Because I spent more there than I should have done. Yes.
In Philadelphia, you found something in Philadelphia to spend a large amount of money on. What on earth could it possibly have been?
No, but the thing is this, that in America I found that, number one, the elderly have to work until a very high age.
How old?
Like they're more customer service oriented because as soon as I come back to the UK, it's all gone downhill again.
Right. I'm sorry to hear that.
I took a plane back and this is not an offensive point.
But?
Yeah, no, come on. But, even when I was going to America, you had the American crew and some of the chaps I think they were gays. But...
Are you talking about the people, the servers on the plane, the waiters and the waitress persons on the plane?
Yeah, there was a gay chap, but he was giving very good service. and the women, they were quite elderly, giving good service. But you come back, and it's the British, I can't mention the carrier, but it is a British carrier.
Yeah.
And immediately you come back, and they're all surly, and it's almost like you are they're doing you a favour.
Is it? No, were they surly to everybody or just you?
No, to everybody. Actually.
Right, okay. That
They
makes
were
sense.
just surly, and there were two young gay chaps, I think. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But they were, and the two women as well, they were all just they had an attitude, the British. But the Americans, whether women or gays, they were all lovely.
Now, have they been looking at Chinese apps, the gays on the plane? Because from the last conversation that we had, I do recall that Chinese apps turn people gay.
No, it's not a question of gay or not gay. It's a question of this country, whatever gender orientation people are, this country, it is a case of too much resting on their laurels. Every young person is told, you can become anything, you can become queen. They watch these programs. Oh, it's true.
What they heard was you could become a queen.
They watch these programs like Celebrity, the Nigel's program,
Celebrity
and they
Nigel,
all think, and they think we can become, and then they have to serve persons like me. But a quick few points I wanted to say that I think in America, because everybody carries a gun, people are more civil. Because since coming here, I was trying to tell I think so.
They're civil while they're running in a crouched position to safety. Yeah.
No, I preferred it actually because it took me a while to get into the country because when I got to the airport, they did an enhanced security check with me.
I bet they did. Yeah.
Now they ask you because when you were a young boy, you used to do hitchhiking in America, isn't it?
Yes.
And you know what they ask you now? They checked my bags and everything, and they asked you lots of questions about if you are in a farm.
They asked you if you were in a farm.
Yeah, the security. They look at your passport, the visa, and then they take you into the side room. They said they randomly selected me, allegedly. And then they asked you, have you been in contact with farm animals? Do you touch farm seeds and all of this?
Yeah. Do you touch farm animals? Yes. This makes perfect sense so far. Go ahead.
But the point is, since I've come back to the country, I've already had 3 incidents, including 2, I don't know if you can call them this, including 2 tramps shouting at me.
Right. Now, why would they do a thing like that?
Well, one of them, I was actually walking on the street and I did the coughing. You know, you press the sound effect button when people cough. That's how, you press the button, isn't it? And I was walking along the street and I coughed loudly, and a tramp, if I can call him this, no offense, he turned around and he started swearing and shouting at me.
Yes. Well, I know I would.
And he said, "Oh, you bleeping made me jump." And he had a metal stick in his hand, and I was wondering if I should have done the fighting with him because it was offensive. And in America...
Probably not, no.
In America, I had no such problems. And then I was in a shop and another, can I call them tramp? Another tramp, he cut in front of me in the queue.
The queue for what?
No, that's the Tesco. You know, I was doing the shopping.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
And
Tesco's, you say?
He just cut in front of me, and the girl behind the counter, she said to me, "Oh, this one does a lot of shoplifting." But
she was pointing at you or him?
No, him, because I didn't say
Right.
nothing, because, you know, if you say something, they get a knife out or whatever.
Yeah, bad.
But the quick last point I wanted to say...
And finally...
I will never... I'm struggling financially. I will never take economy flight again, because when I was going there... No, I won't, because when I was going there was a posh English girl, and she was there with her father. She looked like, you know, Boris's new wife, sort of posh, the one who looks like a child bride.
I wouldn't quite put it like that, but,
well, you know, the
there
posh
seems to
looking,
be something of an age difference there. Yes, go on.
Yeah, it's a sort of horsey looking one, and she started kneeing the seat in front of her because.
Are you saying neighing?
No, with the knee.
Oh, kneeing. I thought you said neighing. Right. Okay.
And it was just, I mean, even though on the one hand we've got the walkie-talkie going on in this country.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you've got these posh, entitled people who have ruled over us, and the idiots who listen to LBC and me as well, we all voted them in. We're sick. And she was just, it was the entitlement. She was just kneeing the seat, kicking the seat, and I thought, you posh people, you are not doing that well because you are flying on economy with a balding fat man.
Exactly, with the likes of you, yeah.
With county court injunctions against him.
All right. Wow. I think he dropped the mask just right at the end there. And last word to Mark in Chelsea. Hello, Mark. Yes, Mark. A last echoing silence.
Yeah, hi. The British press told me that Osama bin Laden... Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Well, unfortunately, can you hear me is going to be the last word on this subject this evening.
No more heroes anymore. No more heroes anymore. No more heroes anymore. No more heroes anymore.
Oh, hello.